This is the base model Honda HR-V. Let's check it out. The HR-V is Honda's entry into the crowded subcompact SUV segment and is also known as one of the first, if not the first, model in it. There are currently 3 variants available locally: the top spec RS, mid-level V-Turbo which we already reviewed, and this. What we have is the 1.5S CVT Honda Sensing, and it's priced at 1,250,000 Philippine pesos. Looking at the exterior, the HR-V is definitely one of my favorites. We have a very sleek looking front fascia. Despite being the base variant, we still have full LED lighting in front, including fog lights. Also, I personally prefer the horizontal slat grille on this one compared to the other variants. On the side, the HR-V looks sleeker and cleaner. I really like how the rear door handle is still integrated onto the rear window. As for the wheels, we have the same 17-inch alloy wheels as the V variant but in two-tone. I still don't like them, but some say they look better here. And for the rear, this is one area that the HR-V is undoubtedly looking good. We have a full-width LED light bar separated only by the Honda emblem. As for cargo space, we have about enough for 4 small pieces of luggage. And also, the HR-V is extremely practical with Honda's ULT seats, which allow you to set the car up for different configurations depending on what you need. And before we step inside, despite being a base model, the HR-VS still comes with remote start, so you can have the cabin cool down on hot days like this before you get inside. Also, not using your vehicle for long periods of time can leave your battery drained. With C-Tech, you can keep your vehicle's battery in top condition whenever you need it, whether your car is new or old. Get the C-Tech battery charger and maintainer value pack through C-Tech's online stores. The links are in the description of this video. So now we're inside the HR-VS, and the good thing here is that if you've seen the V-Turbo and even the RS, it actually looks pretty much the same except for a few stuff. So let's talk about the design first. And I think in the segment, this has one of the best looking interiors, to be honest, except for the fact that they downgraded materials compared to the previous generation. So before we had this huge soft touch piece on the dashboard here in the center console. Now this is all hard touch plastic on top over here. And then we have slightly soft material over here, but it's not that soft, so it could have been a bit softer. And then I really like the design because we have this like fake continuous vent on the passenger side. Then we have these really small vents which look really nice as well. And then we even have an air diffuser system for the air conditioning vents on the side. So there, you can actually hear it click, really nice. Then moving to the steering wheel, so we have the same steering wheel of course as the other variant, and the difference here is the material, which is now polyurethane since we're in the base model. But the good thing here is that the material is still pretty nice, so it doesn't feel cheap at all. Then for the controls, we have our audio controls on the left, our cruise controls on the right, and then for our horn, so it's pretty good. So it sounds like a European car. It's not typical of a Japanese car. Then also I'd like to add that looking at the gauges here, it's more simple, so we don't have that half digital, half analog display in the V and the RS. Instead, we have traditional analog gauges here, and they look really simple, which I really love because it's easy to read, it's easy to understand, and the size is just right. Then we also have a screen in the middle which shows pretty much the same information you would get in the digital screen for the higher variants. And then moving to the infotainment system, we still have the same infotainment system as well. What I don't like about this is the fact that it looks like a CRT screen from the 90s. So we have this huge block behind the screen. Although the screen itself, it does look good. It is easy to use. It's the same one you find the city. So there we go. It's really responsive. It's very easy to understand as well. We have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well. So right now we have Apple CarPlay on. And of course, it's really good. It always fixes whatever problem we have with the screen. Although in this case, it's pretty decent. Then I'd also like to add that I think that it would still be better if we had the screen from the Honda Civic and the Accord. And then also, these buttons for the volume control are a bit of a hassle to use. We can also use this touch screen part for the volume, but still not so easy to use. Still better to have a volume knob right here. Then moving down, we have the single zone automatic climate control, which of course, typical Honda, feels really good. Nice clicking sound. It's like an ASMR car. And then also I'd like to add that when you turn the temperature, If you make it colder, the light around the knob turns blue. If you make it warmer, it turns red, which is another small detail that Honda really did well. Then moving down, we have more storage here. We have lots of storage areas here actually. So we have this one upper portion here. We could put our phone over there. There we go. Then down here, another one right there. And also, we have two USB ports. So we have this one over here for our Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and another one here for charging. Then down here, our typical Honda shifter, which honestly I'm not a fan of. It looks like the handle of an umbrella. But yeah, I guess we have to make do with what we have here. Sadly, they got rid of the nicer shifters from other Hondas. Even the Honda BRV has better shifter, to be honest. Then we put it in reverse. Of course, we have our reverse camera on the screen, which Honda really has to do some catching up, because this, it's okay, it's nice and wide, we have lots of view options, but it's still, the quality is not that good anymore, and we don't even have moving guidance line. So that's something that they really need to fix. Then here in the center console, we have our econ button, we have our hill descent control, which I was surprised to find it here on the base model. Two cup holders, our electronic parking brake with auto hold function, and right here a nice center armrest, which is leather by the way, considering the seats are fabric, with a decent amount of storage inside. Then going back to the seats, we really have a nice set of seats here. So these are the same ones you'd find in the Honda City, and they're really comfortable actually. They don't look as comfortable as they are actually, and the material itself is really nice. It doesn't feel cheap at all, and yeah, I don't mind staying here on long drives. Although the difference here with the higher variants is that the higher variants have that sort of butterfly headrest. This one has normal headrest lang. And now we're here at the back of the HRVS, and as you can see, I have loads of space here, as in loads and loads and loads of space. It's really spacious here. It's probably the best in the segment, and legroom of course is pretty good, although I am having trouble putting my feet under the front seat. But yeah, it's pretty good. Knee room, of course, as you can see, it's very expansive. So this seat is set to my driving position. I'm 5 feet and 7 inches, so this is typical Filipino height, and it's really amazing how much space we have here. Headroom is a bit on the tighter side, so my head is almost touching the ceiling. My hair is actually touching right now. So that's where we kind of have to compromise for the legroom. Although we can at least slouch a bit, and yeah, it'll be even better. Then for the space, we can fit here 3 abreast maybe. Just a decent amount of space for the width of the vehicle, and I think it will still be pretty good, especially on short drives. Maybe 2 people are the best and 1 child, but yeah, pretty good. Then over here, materials are still the same as in front. We have hard touch plastics, a little bit of soft here, a leather armrest, and we have a bottle holder over here, or rather a small bottle holder, because this can only fit those mineral water bottles. Can't fit my big bottle, unfortunately. And then yeah, that's pretty much it here. We have 2 air vents, by the way. Even if this is the base model, we still have 2 air vents. Then we have 2 back pockets as well behind the front seats, and even a slot for your cell phone. Then of course we have a center armrest here with 2 cup holders of decent size. So now let's take the Honda HR-VS on a drive. So initial impressions, I've actually driven this before in Honda's plant in Laguna, and if you haven't watched our first look, you might as well watch it right now. And then, so this is powered by a non-turbo engine. So unlike the other 2 variants of the HR-V, this doesn't have a turbo, and this one shares its engine with the Honda City hatchback, and the Honda BRV. It's a 1.5 liter iVTEC 4-cylinder gasoline engine. It produces 120 horsepower and 145 newton meters of torque. That is paired to an Earthdream CVT, typical of any Honda. Right away, you can feel that this actually feels really different from the turbo version, because instantly you can feel that you don't really have that much coming from this engine. So at this driving in this area, it's okay, it's really good actually, especially in city speed. So it's very responsive. Power delivery is good, torque delivery is also really good, and I must say that Honda did a good job with this engine. In terms of acceleration, you won't really feel that you don't have enough. It feels like it has enough, just enough. It's not that quick, it's not really fast really, but yeah, it will do. It's good enough for this car. In addition, of course, what I really got surprised about this engine is how rev happy it is. So despite being slow, it's actually easy to have fun with this, because the engine really loves to rev. And of course, being a Honda, it also sounds really good. I don't know if you'll hear it, but yeah, it sounds really, really good, which I really like. Once you do enter the highway, that's where you will feel that you really need more because, again, this engine doesn't have much. And still, what I really like about this is how responsive the CVT is. Typical CVTs feel slow, there's a little bit of lag, and that's the case as well with the turbo version. You can feel that there is a bit of lag coming from this engine, but in this case, not at all. It's very responsive. That's what I really like about this. You put your foot on the pedal, it goes. As for the steering feel and handling of this car, just like the turbo HRV, it's really good and typical of Hondas. You have really good steering feel. It's a bit more weighted than I expected, but yeah, it's actually, it really helps in giving you confidence while driving this car. So a little bit of turning, here, you can really feel that it's very responsive. It really responds to your input, so you won't feel the lack of feel at all here. Also, when taking corners, you can feel that you don't have that much body roll, which is of course really nice. And as you can see naman from the exterior, it actually shows that this car is a lower center of gravity because it's quite low and it's a bit wide as well. Ride quality is also another excellent trait of the HRV because you probably saw earlier we have quite some thick tires because this has a bit of a smaller rim size, and as expected, it absorbs bumps really well. The suspension really does a good job of taking up everything for you, and that's one reason why we buy crossovers, right? As for NVH insulation, it's also pretty good with the engine noise. You can hear it, but it's not disturbing at all. Vibrations are really well damped in this cabin, but road noise is what I did notice comes in a bit more here. I'm not sure if it's, I don't remember if it's the same with the one in the V-Turbo, but in this case, it does get quite loud at higher speeds, but again, it's pretty good still. For visibility, the HRV also does really well because we have a nice expansive windshield over here, small pillars here, small A pillar, small B pillar, and then the windshield at the back is also really good, really well sized, and of course the side mirrors here are quite huge. So this has one of the biggest side mirrors I've seen in this segment, I think, and yeah, you really won't need things like blind spot monitoring here or even Honda's lane watch camera, and that only comes with the RS, by the way. Overall, having reviewed the turbo variant before, I was expecting to be disappointed once I got into driving this, especially since this is my first time to take it out on open roads, and still I wasn't disappointed. I actually had lots of fun driving this. I was expecting the lower engine outputs to ruin my driving experience, but in this case it's pretty good. The car redeemed itself with a great driving experience, minus of course the slower engine, but still it redeemed itself very well. And then when it comes to fuel economy, that's actually where this variant really shines. So this engine here prioritizes fuel economy for sure, because in the city we're able to do around 12 kilometers per liter in decent conditions, and then in the highway we're able to reach as more than 21 kilometers per liter, which is good. Actually, Honda claims that they can even do almost 30, which is amazing for a non-hybrid vehicle. And then as for driver assist features, being a lower variant, you'd expect this won't have any, but still this comes with a full suite of Honda sensing. So notably, we have adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, which is of course one of Honda sensing, one of the best in the industry, and this is honestly what I compare at most other cars with whenever I try other brands systems, and this one's the one of the best. And it's nice to see that even if we're in the base model at an affordable price, Honda is really helping us in keeping our streets safe. Well, now that we're done with the test drive of this Honda HR-V S, I have to say that despite not having the turbo engine, despite being priced about the same as better spec rivals, like especially from the Chinese brands, it's still a really good choice. It's still something really good to consider, because considering we have all that safety tech and we still have a really good driving experience, and of course all the space, practicality that we get from it. Yeah, so this is a really good car still, and I think Honda will still do really well with this. It already shows actually with the lack of stock, so hopefully Honda can replenish them soon and we get to see even more of this on the streets soon.